welcome to 𝗟𝗶𝗫𝗨 with TUSC. In today's episode, we'll be diving into the world of movies. Specifically today, we're going to be dissecting a movie called Abang Adik. A little introduction about it is it's not just by Malaysian production, but it's collaborating between Malaysian and Singapore, and the leading actor is also from Taiwan, but it's shot in Malaysia. In the world of movies, this is quite something that is avant-garde. Okay, so I'm your host. My name is Vida, and with me I have Sarah.
My name is Sarah, and I am also your host for today's episode. So today with us, we have Tanuj, Haris, and also Adrian. So why don't they introduce themselves?
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Tanuj. I am a first year, going to second year, doing an LLB in law, and I'm the president of TUSC.
Hello everyone, my name is Adrian, currently studying computer science, and I'm the director of campus relation.
Hello guys, my name is Haris from campus relation and majoring in mathematics.
Okay, before we get into the podcast, I think it's important if we know like the summary of the movie. So basically, from what I read or like from what I saw in the trailer, the movie, it tells the story of a pair of undocumented orphans in Malaysia. We have Abang, who is played by 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗽, who is a deaf-mute person in the movie, and we also have the Adik, which is played by Jack Tan. So basically, it tells us the story of how they are struggling in a poverty-stricken and also crime-ridden environment. So that's basically the surface level of the movie.
Let's kick things off with some initial thoughts on Abang Adik. What was your first impression of the film? We'll start with Tanuj.
Before watching it, I thought it would deal more with crime than it actually did. I mean, I know crime is a central part of the Abang Adik storyline, but I feel like it would have been more fast-paced and like the crime would be a more central theme to the story. Because if you look at the poster, it shows like the Adik in a very, very dimly lit alley. I mean, I thought it would involve more with crime than it did.
I get what Tanuj is saying because when you first delve into the movie, right, the first scene when they show the Adik having a chaos situation with a bunch of other immigrants, that shows a lot of crime-like scene movie. But then my impression of this movie is that when I see those shots being taken, right, you can see Pudu, you can see a lot of familiar places of Malaysia. So the feeling that I have is that, okay, this is a very real and original movie. Because if you see the movie, there's not a lot of visual effects that's been added on. It's mostly just places that we're familiar with. So to me, it feels a lot real, feels a lot original. And that brings me to, maybe we're going to be witnessing a story which is also real and original.
Okay, for me, I think I don't have that high expectation on this movie because like I usually watch local made movie. It basically revolves around crime, action, just like what Tanu said. So I have a mindset of, okay, so there's going to be a lot of brawling going around and all those killing. And basically, if you saw the poster, it's basically like those two head of gangsters, the Abang Adik. I don't know. That's my first impression. And then when I started the opening, it's nice. The quality of the opening is something that I impressed. I don't even know that it's a local made.
Actually, I understand where you're coming from when you said that you're surprised that it's a local movie. Because I think now a lot of local movies, it's easy to say we can differentiate them between local and international. Now that we already got like the first impression from everyone, why don't we just like get into the storyline? How did Abang Adik resonate with your maybe personal life, or you have like a personal story that you can share?
Okay, so growing up, right, I don't come from a particularly rich family, but I also don't come from a particularly poor family. In my life, right, I've never ever thought of the fact that like there are people who has no identity cards. Because like if you ask yourself this question, right, if you're a Malaysian citizen, right, how in the world would someone not have identity card? So that's something that I ponder. So how it can relate to me in personal life, I wouldn't say it will relate because growing up I've never been exposed to these sort of people or at least this sort of environment. But the movie opened up a new chapter in my life, given me another lens to see through what the society is dealing with today. So being able to see this kind of societal issues being brought to life in a movie, and that's what I think is the merit of this movie and the value that it brings, the story, the message that it sends is what touches me the most.
Actually, like it's very interesting to see them like portray the experience of two people without an IC because to my knowledge, we don't really have many movies dealing with, I mean, Malaysian movies especially dealing with, the struggles of people without identity cards. And also, like, in law, in my course also, we deal a lot with people and the issues of statelessness, which is also like one of the themes of Abang Adik lah. Because a similarity between Abang Adik and stateless population is that they both don't have IC, and they also lack the proper means to get ICs lah. And actually, one of the reasons that people end up stateless is because they can't register themselves due to certain documents being missing. The procedure is just too difficult for them to access an IC. Like if you watch Abang Adik, there's a scene where 𝗟𝗜𝗞𝗘, the NGO worker, she actually goes to the NRD, the National Registration Department, and she asks to apply for an IC for Abang or Adik, I can't really remember.
Both of them.
Both of them, right? Yeah. And at that point, right, it is revealed to the audience that the reason why it's hard for them to get an IC is because their parents died in a fire or something along those lines. And obviously, the birth certificate also is revealed to us that it was lost in the fire, and their father can't be contacted. So if their birth cert, which is they're actually born here in Malaysia, is gone, and their father also, they're not in contact with their father, which is also another way to prove that they were born in Malaysia. If both of these things are gone, then they can't access an IC. So I feel like the way that they portrayed these procedures were against Abang Adik, and how they created a system that led to them not having ICs. I feel like it was very, very, very lifelike and very true to life.
All right, so moving on, the characters in movies, they play a very crucial role. So what character sticks out the most to you? Which character that you particularly love in the movie? Let's start with Adrian this time.
Which character? That means one, right? Okay. If I were to think of a character, I guess most people would say Abang because of his acting. But I feel like Adik is more, I favorite Adik a bit more because of his character.
Haris disagree.
His character.
Haris is giving you a side eye.
Right, this movie is interesting because like it portrays two different characters. You see, usually when you have an Abang, usually the Adik will follow the Abang. Most of the time, it's almost like the same kind of people that I've seen lah. But then in this movie, like it's two completely different people. You see, on the one hand, you have an Abang who is obedient, who is hardworking, who is optimistic, who is always trying to be a good person. But there is the other hand of an Adik who tries to be involved in this kind of scam stuff, does illegal things, and is sometimes also impulsive when tries to deal with certain things. So I love the character of Adik because it is real. That's as simple as it is. When you live in a world where you don't have enough money, right, where you are forced to your knees, right, like you can do bad things sometimes. We have to acknowledge that lah. Yeah, money can make or break a person. And so having seen that Adik is a character that's sometimes impulsive, it relates to me a lot as well, because sometimes we do things impulsively, and so that's what I can relate with lah.
Faham. What about Haris? I'm really interested to hear someone opposed to Adrian's statement.
My favorite character, it's kind of obvious I favor on Abang. Yep, even though he's mute, deaf, but the character left quite an impression in me. Because FYI, I usually volunteers for special needs or those disabilities. So I kind of deal with deaf patients and more. So when I watch the movie, it's kind of like, what if this story is about that uncle I just helped during my volunteer? So it's making me, because that Abang is become the breadwinner to the family, even though the spoilers, even though the Abang Adik is not even related, it's just like the Abang, you see? Spoilers for you, sorry. Even though they're not related, it's just Abang just simply saw one crying kid past 20 years ago and just simply adopt. Yeah, that's the spoiler. Because I kind of makes me sit a moment what if Abang is me? Do I really have the energy, the courage to just simply take random people and help? Because basically both of them don't have identification. So you have a problem on yourself. But do you really want to add another problem into your life? For me personally, it's made me think basically. So Abang 𝗲𝗏𝗽𝗶, you're my current favorite actor lah. That's nice. I don't know why. Yeah, it's gave a good impression. Yep, Abang my favorite. Sorry, Adrian mid.
What?
He's a Taiwanese, man.
Actually, I would like to add on why Adik is my favorite character lah. Because actually a lot of people would agree that Abang is their favorite character because of how how positive he is. But we have to understand that without Adik, right, without bad, there is no good. So with Adik, right, with the presence of Adik, you can completely show the character of Abang. You see, when he lives with someone who is like this, right, like a scammer, like someone who does illegal things, someone who's impulsive, but he can still maintain his patience, his kindness, and even sacrifice for his brother at the end of the scene, right? Like the biggest love is sacrifice. And you can only see that with Abang. And I believe, like, without Adik, there's no Abang. So that's why I love the character of Adik the most. Like, this character doesn't shine the best, but it helps to shine the character of Abang a lot more. That's what I mean.
This is becoming a heated argument between Abang or Adik. What about
No,
Thanos?
it's not a heated argument, but it's like...
It's not a
like
heated argument, Adrian.
Yeah, it's like...
It's okay, I'll make it into one. Okay, no, I really like Abang lah. Because from the get-go, you can see that he's such despite his whatever life has given him, it's set him back. He doesn't have an IC, he doesn't have a stable job, he lives in an old apartment, doesn't really eat that well either. Like, he still tries to get by in life, in the proper way. Meaning he makes an honest living, doesn't turn to crime when he needs money.
Legal way.
Yes, correct. The legal way, yeah. And despite all these things, he I think they show, right, at the start, the opening scene is him, rolling a trolley across a market, and then even though he's the boss promises him a certain amount, he actually pays him less. And then when he goes to ask for the balance, the difference due, the boss actually either shoos him away or he goes to do something else. And despite the fact that he was promised more and he received less and he didn't get the difference, he still accepts, that okay, at least I got paid, at least I have money lah, at least I'm earning something. And it's this, how to say, he looks at things positively lah. And okay, I'm going to contradict what Adrian said. The biggest love, I agree, is sacrifice, but you have to consider what kind of sacrifice Abang is making. Ultimately, yeah, okay, Abang does love Adik, but he sacrificed his life for Adik. He took the blame, he went to jail, and he got the death penalty. Even though Adik was so impulsive and so irresponsible. Yes, I agree. Okay, you can love someone, Abang can love Adik, but there's a difference between loving someone and spoiling them. Because Adik should be responsible for his actions. I felt Abang maybe spoiled Adik a little bit. I think even Mani, Auntie Mani says it, Abang spoils Adik a little bit. And I felt despite everything being against Abang, no matter the fact that, he has all these setbacks in life, as I said in the beginning, the fact that he still tried to make an honest living, the fact that he still tried to be a good man and help Adik by getting him his IC, I felt that it's so admirable, it's very noble. And the fact that he still tries, even though his life is very extraordinary in a maybe not so good sense, the fact that he still tries to live an ordinary life, through the romance with, the one of the side characters, I feel it humanizes him. And, what Adrian said, Adik is relatable because he's impulsive, and that's why Adrian likes him. But I like Abang because he's an idealized version of ourselves. If we were put into that situation, we might act like Adik, but I would want to be like Abang.
Even though Thanos just spoiled something big, I think
My bad.
Well, something bigger.
I was so shocked, but it's okay. But it's fine. So what I got from all three of you, it's saying that this movie revolves around society, literally. So on your personal beliefs, how is it relating to our society now? In 2024 as of current. Maybe we can start with Iris. He can't wait right now, I can see.
Impact on society. So there's one scene where Abang is doing the delivery of vegetables to one of the vendors, and then this one Tanush just mentioned. And then when he waited to get his payment, he only get less than half from what been promised. But when he wanted to argue, but because he's just doing by sign language, the owner just let him be. So I think that scene really, I think it's happened in our society right now. Basically, people are looking down to those to OKUs orang-orang upaya, to the people who got disability. So as an example, Paralympic or athlete, even though they got gold medals for Malaysia, for maybe bronze, silver, and now they're not being supported by the government. And they have there's one story, is a power lifter, and now he's just selling tissues by the roadside. So I think government need to do something to support disability group, which also we try to, the big companies also trying to say last time I went to a forum, PwC also trying to getting more people with disabilities inside as a worker. So I think people should start more and don't be double standard towards ability person with disabilities. So I think that one making me right. Yeah, that's true. It's happened also in Malaysia. We need to do something. I rest my case.
Hey, it's a tough question, but it opens a different lens for society because these are issues where, some parts of the society may not acknowledge. So, like, film is a great way of telling a story where the government might not be able to fix. So, when these things are brought to light, like, it's easier for the public to recognize and acknowledge that these people exist. And so, it impacts on the society that the society has to be aware of these people around. And not just be aware, but try to find ways to help these kind of people. And I think the government plays a huge responsibility on this, right? I mean, the issue with IC is that, sometimes we say anyone can become like a great businessman, anyone can become a great scientist, anyone can become a great doctor. Yes, the opportunity is there, but then where is the tool, right? You're thinking of giving the tool. So IC in this case is the tool for these immigrants who have no IC, right? That's their first step on how to get money. Because without an IC, right, you are missing a lot of benefits when IC holder can have. So it brings the impact on society, yes, but then it also impacts on the government, on, like the government should do something about this issue. So that's my take on that.
I hope the Prime Minister watches this movie and listen and have the same thought as you guys. Government should do something. Okay, so any particular scenes in the movie that find yourself being fully immersed to a scene that you really, really love and would like to highlight in this podcast?
I just want to highlight one scene in the movie. I think Adrian and Harris will know what I'm talking about because the scene is amazing. The acting, the camera work, everything about it is fantastic. Even the sound about it, even the sound is fantastic. I'll explain what I mean by that. Okay, so there's a scene. In this scene, spoilers for both of you. Abang is in jail and he's speaking to a monk. Okay, I think if I'm not mistaken, he was a Buddhist monk. Then the monk comes to him and they're talking. And the monk asks him why he isn't talking to the guards, the wardens, and he basically tries, to not console him, but to get him to open up about how he feels. And after he does that, Abang goes on a monologue. Okay? But with it obviously in sign language and in that monologue the camera is fully on Abang. You don't see anything else. You just see his face and his hands because he's doing the sign language. And let me tell you, it was amazing. It was so good. The actor for Abang nailed it in this scene. You can see he's angry. One thing, he's angry and he's sad and he's angry at the world for making him be born a deaf person, but he's sad that he can't get an IC. He's sad even that he wants to be normal. He wants to be able to speak. He wants to be able to do the things that normal people do, but he can't. And you can see this this internal struggle. Okay, I have nothing, but I want to be normal. And it's just, I don't know, his eyes, his hands, the way that they shot that scene was amazing. Even he's not saying much, but you can hear the sound of him making the signs, the sign language, and I feel that adds so much to the emotional weight of the scene. And even I hold the belief that people don't want to die intrinsically, they don't naturally want to die. There must be a reason for them to want to die and Abang in this scene explains everything he's gone through to make him want to die, and it's just so powerful and it's a brilliant scene.
So I've heard some movie reviewers talking about that scene. What about Harry?
Yeah, definitely my favorite scene, the Thanos one, is when
The Thanos one.
the Thanos
I didn't act in the movie.
Thanos is in the movie.
The one that Thanos mentioned. So basically the scene was completely silent, no background music, no camera work. It's just camera pointing to Abang and just subtitles with the hand sign. That scene was brilliant. But one more that make me tear up. So there's one scene. So basically the prison officer asked the Abang, do you want to meet anyone? And then the Abang said he want to meet his adik the adik in this movie. So basically this scene is really really sad. It's just both of them doing signing language, and there's one particular part where they have this routine where they break hard-boiled eggs on each other's forehead. And then before getting to that, the Abang said to the adik while holding the hard-boiled egg one last time, oh my gosh, that one I dare cry. Really really bawled my eyes out. Because movies revolve around family is my weak spot, so I cannot any sad family movie. So that scene really brilliant, how they portray, how they convey their emotion. That one you all should watch the movie. Nice.
And okay, sorry, I want to add something. That scene right where Abang and Adik they cracked the egg on each other's forehead for the last time, right?
Yeah.
When I was watching, when I went to the Instagram page of Jack Tan after the movie, because I was curious, there's a blooper, right? That scene, they did that scene, and bro, Jack Tan, the actor, even after they say cut, right, he's still crying. He's crying unconsolably, and the crew has to come and console him a little bit. It's so crazy, bro.
Exactly. Wow, making me want to cry again, Alright, move on. out to Adrian.
Adrian, let's go.
Other than the two scenes that we just mentioned.
I mean, actually, I have a different scene. I knew you guys would say about the one with the Mong scene. So I agree. Sometimes, like, silence is the best music. Like, there's no music, right? But silence is the best music. But for me, right, being a fan of Adik, my favorite scene in the movie is actually the scene where Adik accidentally killed 𝗟𝗜𝗞𝗘. So for context, 𝗟𝗜𝗞𝗘 like helped this Abang and Adik to secure their try to find their father to secure their IC. But then when 𝗟𝗜𝗞𝗘 comes back from, like, wherever she came from and told, like, this Adik that, there's a hope. But then unfortunately Adik didn't take it in a positive way, as he usually is, as the character portrays. So in that event, he accidentally killed, like, 𝗟𝗜𝗞𝗘. I mean, like,
He
didn't
killed
like,
her?
there
You have
was
to
an
watch.
argument,
The
right? I
answer is
won't
complicated.
spill too much. Okay, it is complicated. But then in that event, he accidentally pushed her down, like she fell, and then there was blood flowing everywhere. So that scene, right, to me is one of the most real and most original scenes that you can see in the movie. Because, like, it really is how, like I said, money can make or break people. But then, like, this scene legit is how it broke, Adik. Because, like, even there is hope, right? He made the entire situation turn into, like there's no hope anymore. There's no hope for him. So, I mean, being able to see this is, like, it's something that is very relatable to me, lah.
So, like, okay, now that we are almost at the end of the video, do we have, like, any short final thoughts? Like, maybe recommendations or like anything at all of the movie?
So this video is not being sponsored by the directors, but y'all wanted to add more knowledge. Just watch this movie lah. It's damn nice. The storyline, just watch it. It's something that makes our level on par with international level.
That's actually amazing because we're just so used to, like, you know exactly what kind of movies I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Haunted movie.
Haunted and a comedy, both at the same time.
Yeah, true. I mean, that one is longer. It's gonna need a long time to discuss on that. But yeah, I think Malaysia, basically all the producers need to have more, just take on the big risks and dwell on the different road basically. Just try new things.
I was waiting for a movie that was different, like that's what Sarah said, and what Haris also said. That was different to the typical Malaysian movie, because you either have, like, you have action movies, which is either gang on gang violence, or police versus gang, or you have romance movies, which are basically soap operas in movie form, or you have, like, haunted comedies like Hantu 𝗟𝗏𝗽, which is all good in their own way. It's okay, whatever. But I'm so happy that a different movie came up, and not only that it was different than the usual grain of Malaysian movies, but that it was a good story and the story is executed well. And I feel, okay, this is very, very big, very big milestone for Malaysian cinema, and I will be very, very happy and very, very optimistic about the future of Malaysian movies if more movies like this could come up, like original, well executed, and well thought out.
For me, I mean, I watch those kind of action, adventure, superhero movies, those that are fictional. But sometimes it's also nice to watch something that is non-fiction, something that is real, something that is original, which I think is what this movie is all about. But if you are a fan of, like, superhero movies, those that have visual effects, great background music, this may not be a suitable movie for you, but also you can always give it a try. But then if you are someone who enjoys seeing real original movies, like, this is the one for you. This is, I guess, what I've learned is that movies can be entertaining, but it can also be educational, and so it works in this sense. So that's my take on how the movie is.
So till next time in Keeping Up with TUSC, stay tuned for more engaging conversations. This is Sarah and 𝗲𝗚 signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Make sure to follow, okay, and hit the bell button to get notifications.
Let's go lah.
Biggest love is sacrifice. You can only see that with Abang. And I believe, like, without Adik, there's no Abang.